All right, it's 4 o'clock. I suggest that we get things started. I have to admit, this is the first time I do a webinar, so it's the first time that I'm actually presenting without any pants on. That's a joke, of course. But I am switching a lot between my presentation and between my cell phone. So if at any point I'm demoing something and you're not seeing what you're supposed to see, please give me a shout so that I know that I need to switch this around. Okay. Thank you so much for the people who filled in the Menti thing. So now I know what I need to focus on. I see a lot of people using the Teams mobile app on a daily basis. So that's awesome. So thank you very much for filling it in, and let's get started. So you should see my first page of the PowerPoint right now. The session is about Microsoft Teams Mobile, as you already know. It is about becoming a road warrior with Microsoft Teams Mobile. Now, of course, these days with the whole coronavirus, we can't really be road warriors anymore. So we actually need to be work from home warriors. So thankfully, with that Teams Mobile app, it also allows us to work from home in a very easy way. So, who am I? I don't know if you ever see me at some kind of session before. My name is Marijn Somers. I've been mainly doing SharePoint for a number of years. Also focusing on Teams for the past 2 years, let's say. Since over a year, I'm also become an MVP, which is very awesome. Unless you can't go to the MVP summit because it's canceled and all virtual and stuff. So that sucked a little bit. Also, I might use some foul language here and there. So sorry for that. Maybe for the YouTube recording, we should put it on PG-16 or something. Maybe you're into podcasts and maybe you already listened to the podcast that me and Steve Dalby are doing, which is called Office 365 Distilled, where we take some time to think about governance, think about user adoption for Office 365 applications. And we always end with a whiskey tasting. Some say that we need to do the whiskey tasting before we talk about technology, but I don't think that's a good idea. You might also seen me together with Jussi Mori, my favorite Finnish dude, on our series Blaming the End User, where we try to discover what is wrong with technology and mainly with Office 365, and we try to blame it on the end user. We fail miserably at that, but we try anyway. So that's what I do. That's what I've been doing, and that's what I will keep doing because I just enjoy it so much. So that's all cool. But of course, you're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about Teams Mobile. So what's on the agenda? I've got a few demos for you. We are first going to set the stage a little bit. Then we're going to talk about how we can keep in touch while we're working from home. Then as a project manager, what are the things that I can do? After that, I'll be stuck in a meeting, and our final demo will be about shifts, where we will be working 9 to 5 on a shift. I will also try to talk a little bit about what is next for Teams Mobile, so what has been announced already. And I also have a bonus, something that was announced a few days ago that would have a really big impact on the way how you use Teams. So you might already know what that is, but I'm going to tell you a little bit at the end of the session for that. So Teams Mobile is still the hub for teamwork. So Teams is the hub for teamwork. Teams Mobile is definitely no exception for that. It is the same thing that you have only on your mobile device. Mobile device, I mean an Android phone, an Android tablet. It could be an iPhone, it could be an iPad. So these things all register as mobile devices. So what can you do? You can, of course, use the whole communication stack. You can use your chats, you can use your video, you can do your calling all in Teams, as you can also do that with your Teams app on the desktop. Of course, you can collaborate, you can work together with people in your Teams, with the channels, with the tabs, with your documents, all other files that you have as well. Then, of course, you can do any customization that you want. You can use first-party apps, like, for example, Shifts, like Braze, like all the other things that might be coming in the near future. But you can also use third-party apps, or you can even have your developers build your own apps. And the last part is that you have the same level of security that you also have with your Teams desktop device. So you can enroll that into Intune, stuff like that. So you can have the same secure way of working for everyone in your organization. So as a first demo, let's set the stage a little bit. I'm gonna switch over to my mobile phone. We're gonna set the stage. This is the stage of Tomorrowland. Definitely the best product in Belgium ever made. So let me switch to my phone. Could you please acknowledge that you're seeing the screen of my phone? All right, cool, awesome. So we've got our Teams app here in the left top corner. And one of the things that I saw Mark Vail Twitter a few days ago is actually when you keep on pressing the Teams button, you actually get this nice little drop down with your chat, with calendar, with search. You can actually take those and put other icons for that. So I think that is super cool. So let's do that. Oh, whoops, didn't mean to open it. Oh, so I can also do that for my calendar, for example. And this way I've got these quick launch buttons that will immediately bring me to wherever I need to be, or wherever I want to be. Yeah. So let's open up. All right, cool. Let's get rid of that. So this is my Teams app. And instead of that left rail navigation, we now have our buttons here on the bottom of the screen. So we've got our activity, chat, we've got Teams, we've got calendar, we got calls. What if you're saying like, oh, but I'm missing a few things. I'm missing, for example, my shifts, things like that. Well, don't worry. There's this little thing that you can draw up. And I call it an application drawer. I don't know if that's the proper word for it, but that's the word that I'm using. And here I can actually see all the other applications that I could use. So I could reorder these, and I could actually say, for example, if I'm using shifts a lot, I can actually move shifts, and I can move that up. So I can put that here, for example, and then you will see the shift button on the bottom. So I can save that. So now I've got my own custom menu on the bottom. So that's super cool. Of course, you've seen already that this is using some kind of dark mode. And these are a number of settings that you can set. So if you press on the left top corner, you've got those 3 stripes. If you click there, you can actually see your all the settings that you have. And that immediately brings me to one of the best features of Teams Mobile. And that is that I can immediately see as a person, for all my accounts, I can immediately see which ones have specific, where I'm a guest at different tenants. And the beautiful thing here is that the switching is super fast. So I'm just gonna switch to one of my customers, and boom, I'm already there. So this is working so super fast. I'm just gonna switch back. Boom, switch now. And I'm back. So this switching takes me more or less 1 second to do. So this is definitely one of my favorite functionalities that I get here. So what else can we do? Well, of course, we got our presence indicator. I can set a status message that I'm presenting. Okay. So what else? One of the super cool functionalities that you also have in Teams Mobile are your quiet hours, because it's a mobile phone and I have my mobile phone with me 24/7. So if I'm working for a big multinational company, people in the US, when I'm in Europe, I don't want them calling at 11 at night. So I don't want to have that. So I can actually say I want to set up some quiet hours. So quiet hours are hours and days where I don't want to be interrupted. So this is actually pretty cool to set it up. So I've got my quiet hours scheduled right now. So they're starting at 10 o'clock in the evening. They stop at 7 at night. And if I want to change that, I actually have this really cool clock that I can just play around with. So let's say I'm going to put it at 8 o'clock. So quiet hours start at 8 o'clock. I can also put in quiet days. For example, Saturday, Sunday, I'm not working those days. So I will put these as quiet days as well. Let's get rid of that one. So I've got a number of extra functionalities that I can set here as well if I want to. What are other really cool settings that you can use? So of course, I've got my dark theme that I can set up. I've got my notification. Also, a cool functionality is the data and storage. Because I'm using my mobile phone, I don't always have access to Wi-Fi. I might be using my data storage or my data connection. So I might want to change the image upload quality. So for every image that I send, I might want to change that into low resolution so that it doesn't take as much data as I want to have. What else? We can do some things around messaging, where I can set up my read receipts, which are default on, by the way. And I can also, for example, for my shifts, we'll talk about shifts later on. But here in shifts, I can actually say, when do I want to be notified before my shift starts to work? So maybe I want to be notified 1 hour in advance so that I'm definitely on time, even when I forgot that I have a shift going on. So these are a number of really cool things that we can have while we are on our mobile phone. Yeah. So let's switch back to our slides. Cool. Let me quickly check if there are no questions. All right. Everyone is cool. So I talked a little bit about those quiet hours. There are a few gotchas. So Tony Redmond wrote a really cool blog post about that. The quiet hours are based on your device time. So if you mess with your device time, for example, for daylight savings time, or when you're flying and you're in a different time zone, these quiet hours will automatically take the time of your phone. So that is pretty useful. So you don't have to switch around for those. It is also set per device. So if you got one mobile phone, you got one tablet, for example, you need to set those quiet hours for every device. It's not automatically synced or anything, so that doesn't work. It's also not working when you're actively using the app. So if you're actually on the app, you're typing away, you will get notifications. Also important, it only works for Teams. So it doesn't work for your WhatsApp. It doesn't work for Tinder. So beware, it doesn't work for those things. And also important that incoming calls will still get through, and your urgent notifications will also still come through. So the urgent notifications is when you want to chat with somebody, that you can say this is like a normal post or this is an important post, and you can also set something as urgent, and then these people will get a notification every 2 minutes for the next 20 minutes. So it's also the annoy button, I call it. So these things will still get through, because urgent notification is of course urgent, is of course very important. So these will still get through. So next demo, in the morning, we're up, we took a shower, we're drinking our morning coffee. What are the things that we can do then? So let's change back into our app. So what are the things that we can do? So first thing that you will probably do when you're checking Teams or checking Teams in the morning is first you go to your activity feed and you see a number of things that are happening. And one of the things that you can also do with a mobile phone, because it has a touch screen, is you can swipe. And if you swipe, you can actually say, okay, I read these things. So you can swipe them to mark as read. You can swipe again to mark as unread. So pretty useful functionality for that one. The next one that you'll probably want to start looking at is the chat. And then you see a number of chats and you probably don't want to respond to everything. You might be in a group chat where a lot of people are chatting away. So what you probably want to do is you want to mute those conversations where a lot of people are talking anyway. So for example, I've got my golf buddies here, and if I click and I hold it, then I can actually say just mute this chat, because this might, I don't want to be notified all the time. And there might also be this Yammer meeting. Yammer, why? No, oh, to put that Yammer thing away so you can also hide these things. Next up, you can also, of course, go into your whole conversation part. And one of the things that I really like about using a mobile phone is that you can use your text-to-speech functionality, for example, that you have on the phone. So what I can do now is I can press my microphone and I can use that text-to-speech that I can use all the time. No, I did not see that. And of course, that didn't work. No, I did not. Yeah, well, okay, so that didn't work. I didn't sacrifice a goat to the demo god, so that will probably happen. Also, a really cool thing that Carolina Ketukeri showed me a few days ago is that when you actually swipe right on a person on a chat message, is that you can actually use those quotes or use that message as a quote to use in your chat. So I could just say no, and then I actually use that as a quote. So yep, swipe right. So I can use that. Super cool functionality. There are a number of things or a number of ways how I can react, for example. So I could use also just a picture that I can just give away, or I can use some GIFs. There are no stickers here in the mobile app, but I can still use GIFs. I can put some attachments in there. So these will look at all my OneDrive files, to my team files, other files that I have on my phone. And again, also do other things like, for example, make this a priority or an urgent thing, or I can send my location or an emoji. I can also, and that is also one of the cool things that you can do in the phone app, is that you can actually leave somebody a voice message. So there's this microphone icon as well. No, I did not see that one. And what is happening now is that Lloyd, in this case, will actually get a voice message from me. So, for example, if I'm running to catch a train, this might be a super cool way to do that, or to keep in touch with those people. All right, back to the slides. So there are some limitations if you're using your Teams mobile device. Because you're on a mobile device, it actually makes sense that you can't really do everything that you're used to do in your desktop application. For example, there's no support for conditional formatting. So if you go into your Files tab in a team, you can add metadata, you can do some conditional formatting. That conditional formatting will not appear in your Teams mobile app. So you will not see these views. You will not see these metadata, things like that. Also, when you do a post in a team, you can't make it an announcement post, because who is going to write a big announcement on their mobile phone? It just doesn't make any sense. So it's not there. I think it's pretty normal that it's not there. There are also the reply options that you have in your desktop app, where you can say, okay, only moderators can reply. Those things are not here as well. There's also another functionality to post in multiple channels at one time. You don't have any background blur in your meetings. There's no meet now functionality available either. As I said, you don't have stickers. You can't edit the wiki, but really, to be honest, who cares who's actually using that wiki functionality in Teams? Nah. And also a tricky one, there are no hidden themes. I will show you that later on. But of course, you know, in your desktop application, you've got your themes on the top, and then you've got your hidden themes on the bottom. Hidden themes are actually really hidden on your mobile phone app, so they're just not showing up. Once more, makes sense. You only have limited screen real estate, so makes sense. But on the other hand, you get some extra capabilities that you don't have on your desktop application. One of the things is, for example, the account switching that I showed you. It is so fast, and as I'm a consultant, I've got a number of customers. I need to be switching a lot of times during the day, and this is just making my life so super easy. We've got voice messages that I showed you. We've got quiet hours, brilliant functionality. Also, one of the things that I definitely like on the mobile app is that you get a better reply versus the new button. So in your desktop application, you see so many times that people actually want to do a reply, but they're starting a new conversation. Well, with the mobile app, you don't have that so easily. So you can, as you can see on the screenshot on the right-hand side, you've got a big reply button that you can use, but you also have that round button that you can use to create a new thing there as well. Also, for the chat, swipe right to quote. I'm using that so much ever since I know about that feature. Also, one of the things that I also really like is the notifications that you get for a chat. If it's possible, it's gonna give you a few examples on things that you want to answer. So for example, when I got that text notification from Lloyd saying that if I saw the message from the CEO, I actually have some buttons underneath that where I can say I did, yes I did. So I can just click on that and don't have to type it in. So super useful. Also an extra capability, it's mobile. So I can be walking around the street, I can be in the supermarket, I can be wherever I want to be, and I can see those functionalities all the time. So super easy to see that. So that's definitely a big plus as well. So we've got a number of limitations, we've got a number of extra capabilities, definitely worth it. So for our next demo, let's dive into Teams. And I don't have to forget to switch over to my screen. There we go. So let's go into the Teams part, and you can actually see that it looks pretty much the same as you get in your desktop application. So I've got my pinned channels on top. Underneath that, I've got your Teams as well. So there I've got my Teams. I can open these up, see my channels. I can see my private channels. I can even see that some channels have these emojis in there. So these work as well. So it's all good. Two major things. So I'm only seeing my teams at the moment. So these are just my teams, so no hidden teams. You can actually make these appear if you click on those three dots on top. Then you can actually say I want to manage teams. And here I can actually use checkboxes to say, okay, I don't want to see these anymore. And then I can just go back, and then these will actually be hidden away and I will not see them. There's a button to see all the teams. Takes me back there as well. Pinning a channel, super easy. I can just click on a channel, hold, and I can just pin that and it will appear up there. One very nice functionality is when I pin a channel here on my mobile phone, it will also be pinned in my desktop application and vice versa as well. So if I pin something on my desktop, it will appear here as well. Super easy. What else can I do? I can click on these three dots. Do we have questions or somebody sniffing? No? Okay. So I can also just create new teams from my mobile app as well. So this will just allow me to give it a name, give it a description, add people, make sure it's private, public, discoverable, these things. So the things that you can do on your mobile as well, or things that you can do here as well. So I can jump into a channel, I can see my posts, and I can swipe to left and to right to actually see what are the things I have. So in this case, I've got my posts, I got my files, I can go to more, and here I can actually see the extra tabs that have been added. So for example, if I open up that wiki, I put some text in there, there is no edit functionality for this wiki. But as I said, I don't think that it's gonna matter a lot. I don't think you're gonna text a lot of text from your mobile device anyway, so doesn't really matter. Also, the next tab is a planner tab. So this will open up the planner application, and this actually allows me to look at all my tasks and to complete them in a very, oh, whoops, let's go away. So I can just mark these as completed in a very quick way. So I can still do all my work as a project manager here as well. Also very important, so I'm here in this specific channel. Maybe I want to get some better notifications. So on the top, I can see that bell. I can click on that and I can just say, okay, do I want to get a notification for all the replies to my messages? Do I want to see everything that has been shown? So I can play with that as well. When I do a reply in here, as I already said, there are a number of things that you can do to reply. One of the things that I definitely super like is the fact that I can take a picture. And when I want to take a picture, this is actually opening up my Office Lens application. So I can actually say, well, I want to take a picture of a document. And Office Lens will make that into a really nice image for me. So I can make some additions here. And I can send that off to my team. Boom, and then everyone will see it. There are a number of other things that I can do as well if I click on those three dots. So I can share my location with everyone in the team. So for example, I'm a help desk person and I'm walking around. I can actually share the location of where the issue is taking place. I can give somebody praise really quickly. So somebody has a kind heart, and let's say Lloyd has a kind heart. Good. All right, so that can go as well. So there are a number of ways how I can actually interact with my team when I'm working here in my mobile application. Right, back to the slides. And we've got 10 more minutes. That's okay. I only have like 70 slides to go, so that will work. My next meeting, for my next meeting, I was testing it out and yesterday, and I was going into a meeting, and I was in the meeting showing how I went into another meeting, but of course that kicked me out of the meeting that I was in. So I will only show this with screenshots. If I go to my calendar tab, I can see all the meetings. I can just see my calendar. One of the things that I would really love is if this would also use the color codings that I'm using in my Outlook. That would be super useful. It's not doing that at the moment. Hope that will be coming later on, but we'll see. So what can I do here? I can actually create new events. I can join a meeting, things like that. I can share content from my phone as well. So let's create a new meeting. It's just like you can do on your desktop device. Add a title, add your date, save the meeting. You can also join a meeting. That will bring you to this specific screen where you can actually choose to have your video on or your microphone on. And you also have specific join functionality. So what you can do here is you can actually join with your audio off, or you can also join while adding a room. So if you have these Teams room devices near you, this will actually scan via Bluetooth which one is available, which one is near you, and then you can actually directly jump into that room where you have a big screen, stuff like that. That will all log you in, and then you can follow that meeting in a good meeting room instead of just your phone. And if you just want to take it on your phone, it's no problem. You got this screen. And one of the things that was kind of bothering me is you have to make a choice if you want to look at the screen or if you want to read the conversation. So because of that small real estate that you have, the conversation is actually in another screen, and that's a full screen. So also if you're using an iPad, for example, you need to choose between looking at people or actually using the chat to talk with those people. So it's some kind of a trade-off that you need to do. What I always find myself doing is that I'm switching a lot between one and the other. So maybe that is the answer for now. So in a meeting, one of the things that I can actually do is if I click on those three dots, just like with a normal meeting, is that I can share something that I want to share. So if I click on the share button, it will ask me, what do I want to share? Do I want to share a picture? Do I want to share a PowerPoint, or just the screen of my device? Let's take a PowerPoint. This will automatically bring me to a nice overview where I'm looking at my recent files. I can see all the files in my Teams, in my channels. I can look at my OneDrive files. So I can just click on a file and it will actually open up. And one of the things that you can do here is on the bottom, you have left and right button where you can actually walk through the slides. So everyone is looking at your slides and you can actually present them. Cool functionality is when you turn your phone into landscape mode, you actually have these same buttons. You see the slides, they're a little bit bigger. It kind of makes more sense to do that as well. And then you can actually use it like a Game Boy with your two thumbs, using it to go back and forth into the session. Okay. So last demo is about working 9 to 5. It's about shifts. I know that after this session is Nate Chamberlain. He will talk for a full session around shifts. So I'm not going to talk all the way about shifts, but I'm going to show you how that looks like when you're using shifts on a mobile device, because probably a number of your first line workers will not be walking around with a laptop. They will probably be walking around with just a smartphone in their pants, which they're doing anyway, let's face it. So how does that work, and what are the functionalities that I can do? So there are three main things that I can do. I can clock in and clock out from my shift. I can take over any shifts that are open, and I could request a leave for some kind. So let's take a look at how that looks like. If I open up shifts, this will bring me to a screen like this, where I can see the current shift. So I'm working with Lloyd, I can see. So there's a chat button here, so I can directly chat with Lee, for example, about who's bringing lunch and what he's bringing for lunch, for example, or if we need to bring anything else with us. So I can directly chat with who is together with me in my shift. Then I can go to my requests, and I can actually ask for an absence, and I can request for some time off. I need to fill out when do I want to have time off. I could have a reason there as well. And also important, I could also declare what type of time off that I want. So could it be, is it just unpaid? Is it, am I feeling sick? Or for example, parental leave. So what happens then is if I do that request, it has to go to my manager. Now, luckily, I am my own manager, so I get this message if I would like to request time off from myself. And definitely, I'm going to approve that, of course. And what I, as an employee, not as a manager, then get is that the manager response is that it is approved by Marijn. So I can see in my completed screen which are the things that are completed. So when I requested open shifts or when I requested time off, I can all see these things. So if it's ready to start working on my shift, I can go to my time clock and I can click on the play button to start my shift. Now, of course, after 5 seconds, I'm dead tired, so I need to have a break. So I need to click on the break button. And now I'm on my break. And after a few seconds, I'm feeling good enough to start working again. So I can click on the stop my break functionality. And that will bring me back to on the clock. Now, of course, after 25 seconds, I'm good to stop my shift because I'm so tired after 25 seconds. And what that will bring me is that will bring me to a timesheet page where I can see all the shifts that I've been working. And I actually need to confirm if those hours are correct. So I can edit these or I can confirm these until they're good. And when I get these confirmed, I have my timetable at the end. If we're talking about shifts as well, this is one of the cool functionalities is that you also can get an SMS sign-in. So if you have shared devices, for example, I've got 3 different shifts per day, and I've got this one device that people need to give to each other. I can actually use this SMS sign-in functionality where people just get an SMS instead of having to use an actual account, having to use an email address, having to use a password. So this SMS sign-in that will actually be sending a code that I can use to sign in, and then I can just do all the things that I need to do. So super useful functionality there. So what is next for Teams Mobile? Well, we've got a number of features coming out. So one of the really cool features is the Walkie Talkie feature. You see that a lot in, for example, big chains, clothes stores, shop floors, whatever, where people are walking with a little earpiece in, and they can actually push a button and that will just send a message to everyone who's working at that moment. Same functionality is being built in right now with Teams. So I'm definitely looking forward to that functionality. That's going to be cool. Also on my Christmas shopping list will be one of these bad boys. This is actually a helmet with a head-mounted device. So it's got a microphone, it's got a camera on there. So when you're walking around in the area where you need to walk around to, you need to show somebody something, some proof of whatever, you can do that right away with your head-mounted device. Something coming or announced for iOS, not for Android, is the background blur functionality. So I know a lot of people have been asking for your custom backgrounds on the desktop. Really, nobody cares about your custom background picture. Just do what you want to do. But for iOS, it's coming. Also super important is improvements to the audio quality. So there will be a new codec that's going to be used. It's called the Satin codec. And that will just have a number of really smart ways on improving the audio quality when you're in a low bandwidth situation. So if you're somewhere and you don't have a really good data connection, don't worry. There's a lot of artificial intelligence behind the screens that will automatically upgrade the quality of the audio, upgrade the things that you're saying, so that everyone can understand what you're saying loud and clear. Also, super cool functionality that is rolling out is the tags functionality. So that means that you can actually create a tag of a number of people with the same role. So for example, the help desk people, or in this example, the on-call oncologist. So what happens is that you've got different shifts in this case, and there are people in this shift who are, in this case, the on-call oncologist. And if somebody mentions the on-call oncologist or texts the on-call oncologist, then only the people who are working in that current shift, they get these messages. So super useful functionality. I think we're going to use that a lot for all kinds of reasons when you want to talk to the people that are actively working on a shift at the moment. So I was telling you already about this bonus thing that I was gonna show you. The bonus thing is that Teams is also coming to your personal and your family lives. So no longer do you only use it for your work, but you can also use it for your to manage your family, actually. And there are a lot of things that you can do. It's looking really cool. One of the main functionalities, and I hope that these that this will come to the work Teams environment as well. So Microsoft, if you're listening, pretty please bring this to the work environment as well. That's the dashboard functionality. So that dashboard functionality where you can just see everything that's happening right now in your team. That is just a brilliant functionality. It looks amazing, and I'm pretty sure that will be the backbone of your whole family life. So what are the things that you can do when you're using Teams family? You can, for example, create a group to plan a trip with your friends. You can connect with people in a group chat. You can make video calls. You can create your grocery list, give it to your partner, give it to your children, make sure that they stop by a certain store. You can coordinate your schedule, your calendar with your spouse's calendar. So many things that you can do. For example, store important information. If you have insurance information, the Wi-Fi password, pictures of the identity cards, you can all put them here in one safe environment. So that is looking super awesome. And just like I already showed you earlier on, I can share my location. You can also do that in the family environment. So you know that when your kids are walking back from school, you can actually see where they are at the moment, that they're not stopping by the candy store, but that the candy store, but that they're actually on their way because their soup is getting cold. So super useful. So some screenshots that Microsoft released. You can get more out of your chat, so you can chat with your family. You can share all kinds of files together. You can access each other's calendars, activities, shared tasks. I forgot to mention one big thing. You don't have to install a different version of Teams if you want to use this. So Teams Family, that will just be your personal account in the same Teams environment. So what you just need to do is you just need to, when you buy this, because you have to buy this, of course, it's the family plan. You just put your own email address on there, and that will register as being this Teams family thing. So you don't have to install one Teams for work, one Teams for family. It's all in the same application. So you can just share your pictures, share your videos. Everyone can see the things that you want to have within the family. You can share your location. You can share that information. Super useful functionality. If the kids have friends over and they're asking for the Wi-Fi password, membership information, insurance information, all very cool. So wrap up. There are benefits for every scenario. There are benefits for every role. Doesn't matter what you do. I think Teams Mobile will definitely be super useful for you. It's got awesome features. It is missing some features. Kind of makes sense if you compare it to the desktop application, but it's got a number of really cool features that you don't have. For example, that application drawer, the swiping of the screen, the integrated office lens functionality, the audio messages, super cool. As a wrap up, don't do meetings while you're driving. So your screen is not big enough to see what people are presenting. Keep your eyes on the road if you're driving. Please do that while you're on a train or whatever, or stop in a parking lot. But don't do your meetings while you're driving. Also, super important, wash your hands. So if this meeting is done in 2 minutes, walk up, wash your hands, stay home, work from home. All the tools are available. Be safe, people. Last, rate my session. Let me know what you think about it. Follow me on Twitter. Send me some tweets around how poorly I did or how good I did or whatever. And please stay for Nate's session on Shift. I think that is going to be super cool. I will definitely be there. I will be here answering any questions if you want. Well, I'll be here. If you need me, talk to me. Listen to the podcast if you have a chance. Office 365 Distilled. You can find that everywhere on iTunes, on whatever thing that you use to listen to podcasts. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know what is missing, what could be better. If you have any good whiskey suggestions, please feel free to elaborate more on that, and we'll definitely give you a shout out on the call. So that's it for me. As I said, I will be here answering questions. Thank you so much. I hope you learned something new, and I definitely had fun. And now I can go back into my sweatpants, into my hoodie, and into my t-shirt instead of this nice clothes, because I don't have to be in front of the camera anymore. So as I said before, stay safe, work from home, go wash your hands now. Cheers, guys.